But it's there if they want it.
Why spend the extra money?
Listen,
if you
because
don't
they
need
want it. Because they want it.
Happy Friday, guys. This is Eddie.
And this is Marcos. Welcome to the Kunes Collective. And we're going to start off by asking ChatGPT some of the most commonly asked questions that people ask before buying a car.
Oh, boy.
I know, right? It used to be started off by asking your neighbor. They used to sell cars when he was a kid, and then it moved on to asking Google. And here we are asking ChatGPT.
There you go.
So that is kind of fun. There is a question here. Let's just get right into it. Is it better to buy or lease? I'm really curious on what it says, and then we can kind of give our feedback on it.
I think it's going to fall on the individual buyer and the lifestyle.
We got to ask chat first.
Well, I should go first.
All right.
Well, fine. Let it go.
Is it better to buy or lease a car?
This will be fun.
That's a great question. The answer depends on a few key factors about your lease terms, vehicle, and financial goals.
That's what I was going to say.
Break it down. All right, so starting off, I mean, that's a pretty solid... It actually kind of sort of understands...
Well, the bot is somewhat right. I mean, it's going to depend on your lifestyle, i.e. the miles you drive per year, how long you plan on keeping the car, your overall goal. Budget's going to play a big factor into it. There's a lot of people that's, me, I drive a ton of miles. I drive 20 to 22,000 miles a year. There's people out there that are retired or work from home, and they'll barely hit 10,000 miles a year. So we're in a world now where everybody is still chasing the elusive $300 payment, which it doesn't really exist. The average car payment is $450 to $650 a month. So
I think that's the average that we see.
Yeah.
Bree can fact check us, but I believe the average car payment in America is about $750.
What's that? I know. Oh boy.
And I think that's a testament to, like, your statement's a testament to about what we do as far as, I get it. Might be a $400, $500, $600 payment on whatever the vehicle is, but unfortunately, sometimes that is as cheap as we can get the payment on whatever $30,000, $40,000 vehicles have gotten to, and that's essentially an entry-level vehicle in a lot of manufacturers.
Well, I mean,
now.
there's people too that the life cycle now is the days of people keeping their cars for 10 years and putting 200,000 miles on them. Those are far and few between. Now people want the latest and greatest. With Apple CarPlay and all the cameras and 360 surround views and self parking. Everybody wants. It's like the phones. People want the latest and greatest. So they're not in their cars for 5-6 years. I have customers that are swapping out once a year or 3 years. So a lease is smarter for them, because why take a loan out for 72, 84 months to be hooked in it when you could be only tied to it for 2 to 3 years? So it gives you more options at the end.
Sure. I'm going to give you, so it said you kind of elaborated on its initial thing. So it's got this labeled out into 3 main things to consider. So I'm just going to read all 3 of them, and then we can go through them. Compare the buyout price versus market value. Consider fees, tax, and financing. And evaluate the car's condition and reliability. Okay, so I'm just going to touch on the first one. Compare the buyout price versus the market value. I like where chat's where its mind is at here, if I can say that. However, I will say it's tough to consider the buyout price and what the market value is kind of implying at the end. We might know what the residual is, but that's estimated. We don't really truly know what the market's going to be in 2 years, 3 years,
Right. 4
years. So although I think valiant effort, I think that particular one, I would say don't get too hung up on it as a consumer. Don't get hung up on the residuals too much. As a salesperson, if you have a customer walking in and asking about this, okay, if you're guaranteed, for a fact you are buying it out at the end of the lease, sure, residuals important. All the little numbers are important, but realistically, if you know that you're going to be trading it in, leasing another one, whatever the case, don't get too hung up on the residual, because, for example, some electric vehicles right now show a 80% residual. Well, with the $7,500 tax credit that's gone, because some manufacturers were adjusting the residual for the leases, is my understanding. All of a sudden somebody might have bought that car at a 80% residual. Well, it doesn't matter. That's kind of irrelevant now because it might be a 70 or 60%.
You know, the residual, it's, and, you know, probably get flamed in the comments from this, you know, because you have all the experts online, but, you know, that residual value at the end of the lease, it does hold some water, but, you know, if you're, like you said, if you're getting out of a lease and into a new one every 2 to 3 years, you know, being that price is locked in, the manufacturer is the one that's taking all the risk. Because let's say you lease, you know, like I work for Jeep, you lease a Wrangler, and that residual is, you know, $28,000 at the end of it. You know, well, let's say the market tanks and gas goes to $5 a gallon. Now that Jeep's worth $24,000. Well, you're not hooked. You're not upside down like in a traditional loan. You go, okay, well, now it's your problem, Jeep. So they take the hit. Now, if you are looking to buy out that at the end of the lease, and you have that same scenario where the market's gone down and you're, you know, the lease buyout's 28, but it's worth 24, well, you'd be foolish to buy that, because why would you spend something, you know, why would you spend 28,000 on something that's worth 24? If it has equity, now you're in a position where you can use that. And I have a lot of customers where they have had equity in their, you know, on lease end. Now they can use that money towards the next lease as money down.
And if you got it, great.
Yeah.
I would never really go into a lease expecting that to be an option.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, every once in a while it does happen. And that is the great thing about a lease is if the market is in a better place, you still get to take advantage of it. Kind of backing up the point to don't worry about that too much, because in a lease, if the value is good in your eyes, you can buy it out, take advantage of it. Most likely it won't be, and then you let the lease company worry about it. Not your problem.
Yep.
Consider fees, taxes, and financing. Really, I think this is most important just because most of us see what the manufacturers are advertising like on a national level.
Yeah.
And it's keep in mind as a consumer, it's not like they are trying to be dishonest, but they're advertising to, you know, every county, every city in some situations is going to have a different tax, you know, license, registration, whatever. All those dollars are going to be different. So they can't get too specific. So that's why they kind of pull the tax, title, license fees out of it. A lot of time those advertised leases do from the manufacturers, and across the board, they include a security deposit, first month
always
payment.
Small print at the bottom.
Yep. I mean, it typically is a decent upfront. So yeah, something to consider in the sense that, yeah, especially if you've been watching the advertisements. But again, as far as if the payment's right, that's really the most important thing. We don't have to spend too much time on that. I do find it interesting that chat told us to evaluate the car's condition and reliability. Just because on a lease, I mean, technically you can lease a used vehicle. I haven't seen it be.
There's small companies around that do it. It's sometimes the payments don't make sense. You're better off buying brand new.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those, what I've seen, were those small companies that lease pre-owned vehicles are, you know, those are businesses that are leasing those, like, you know, a low mileage Tahoe or Yukon, or, you know, even a Hummer EV.
There's some high performance, like more exotic type stuff that I know companies do leases on used stuff.
Oh yeah.
But in general, your average consumer, 99% of us, if we're leasing, it's because we want to have a brand new vehicle, you know, every 2-3 years, whatever the case. Okay, so number 4, think about your driving and lifestyle. I think it should have given us that way higher up on the list, because that was one of maybe the second or first thing that you mentioned was kind of driving style and characteristic
with a lease.
100%. And now you can do a lease at 20 if you drive 20,000 miles a year, but you need to know up front when you're getting the quote, get it quoted with 20,000 miles.
Exactly.
Don't get a 10,000 mile lease because the payment's low.
Well, that's where you know, you have a lot of people that'll say, you know, that they hate leasing, or I'm never going to lease, but they never have. It's like, well, why don't you want to lease? Well, it's not smart. They don't know anything about it. Or they've had someone that they know that had a horror story with a lease. Probably someone that was in a 10,000 mile a year lease, but they're driving 15, 16,000 miles a year. So they were set up wrong from the start. So it's not that there wasn't a good idea. It's that if it was structured properly, they would have had a great experience with it.
Yep. And if I could just give one little tidbit to our salespeople out there, would be if you bring up a lease and a customer shuts you down right away, ask them why.
Write it down on paper.
Well, I'm sure you've heard a million different reasons. why somebody doesn't want to.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if you dig, a lot of it is they're just not educated on what a lease is in 2025.
Yeah. People are still thinking that it's the 1980s when it was a open-end lease.
And it was horrible.
Yeah.
And it was horrible, for sure. Like, there's a reason why a whole generation hated leasing. And it's because they were open to it at one point and they sucked. They had a $200 lease payment for the first year, and then it was an $800 payment after that.
I'll always bring it up, because it's when I'm presenting numbers, I'll show both versions. Plus, on the sales side of it, if I get you into a lease, well, now I'm guaranteed to see you back in 2 years, 3 years, versus maybe maybe I'll see you in 72 months when you pay that off.
All right, so to wrap this one up, do you how would you rate chat's response? Would you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I did it right in the middle.
I was actually going to say in the first time in the history of our show, I was going to give it a meh.
It's a meh, yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I feel like
it's hitting the average,
yep. Some of the keyboard warriors might say, hey, you could have given it a better prompt to give you a better answer. And sure, but a better prompt would involve me knowing more about it than what the average consumer is. So what I'm putting in here is literally just like how the average person, if they had a question, like, is it better to buy or lease a car? Right. I think most people, they would literally just put that in.
Well,
they're not going to say, hey, I drive 10,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
I need space for 4 people with at least 12 cubic feet of cargo room in the trunk. People aren't going to go in there and put that in there. Sure, if you put all that in there, I'm sure chat would give you way better advice.
And it's pulling chat, GPT it's pulling those answers from the internet, and it's pulling from sites like Consumer Reports and Motor Trend and car buying sites. So it's pulling from sites that are a lot of times are driven by salespeople.
Yep. All right. So let's go to our next question. When is the best time to buy a car?
Right now.
When is the best time to buy a car?
A lot of people will wait till the end of the year. I'll wait till I'm going to come in December, because that's when the dealerships are they're desperate to sell cars, and people will still ask me that all the time. Even my repeat customers will say, hey, when's the best time to buy? And I'll say, joke, and I'll say, right now, buy the car now. But that kind of, there's truth to that. It's towards the end. If you break it down by month, the second half of the month is when dealers will naturally just get more aggressive, because we're all trying to hit target numbers and salespeople are trying to hit their bonus levels and everything like that. So they'll put more into a trade-in, or they'll discount a little bit more, or they'll bend some scenarios to say not stuff they would typically do, because now they're more amped up. They're trying to hit a number. That's just how it's always been. You know what I mean? But I'll tell customers too that want to wait till the end of the year because they think that's the better time. Well, there's good and bad to that, because let's say the guy that's looking at the Ram truck right now, and he says, well, I'm going to wait till December. That's when you guys will have bigger incentives. Well, we have incentives right now, but more importantly, it's availability. 100%. It's, you come here now and I have 20 trucks on the lot, and now you're going to come in December. Well, now that there's 3 left on the lot and none of them are the color that you want, or none of them are the package that you want. Now we can trade with other dealers. Dealerships across the country do this all the time. Say, well, we'll trade outside our dealer network. But now the problem you have is those other dealers also are in the same bucket where they also are running low on inventory. So now they're not willing to trade. So you're going to have to take something that's on the lot or something that's not as heavily discounted, because when supply goes down, what happens? Supply and demand,
Yep. And the ironic part about this, now this is important for the consumers watching and for the salespeople watching. Typically, what the situation you're describing, I can think back to a million different times where that happened. And what happens more often than not is you end up buying a more expensive truck.
Yep.
Because you couldn't find the one that had just what you wanted on it, right? And you don't want to get a new truck and not have something you want. So typically you end up having to buy something more expensive in the first place. And sure, okay, maybe there's an extra $1,000, an extra $2,000. But if you had to buy 2 extra packages that you didn't want, just because based on availability, you wanted a red one and you had to have the buckets, and you really wanted the Ram boxes. But now you also, instead of being able to maybe get, or let's say you could have got that on a Bighorn. Well, now the only ones that have that equipment on the lots are Laramies.
Yeah.
So yes, waiting, time kills deals for salespeople and for consumers.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you'll have with that, just to tap on that too, I've seen customers that naturally will just upsell themselves. You know, I had a guy, it was last year, same thing. He was looking at a Bighorn, ended up going with an in-stock Laramie. Wasn't the first, he wanted black. We had one in granite crystal, the dark gray. And he bumped himself, it was like almost $8,000.
Right.
And he was happy. He's like, well, no, I kind of see the value in it. And at the time, this was in November. And he was like, you know what, I've been, shopping all around. I've been in and out of dealerships, and now I just want it to be done. But he was happy because he's like, well, this is what it is,
All right, so I'm going to tell you what chat said. You guys were on the same, well, not you guys, you brought up the same thing that most people would say, which is the end of the year. That's the very first thing. Widely considered the best time to buy. It says on here, dealerships want to hit annual sales targets. Hey, working in the dealership, how often do you hear anything about an annual target? I mean, let's be real. That's not something that really ever gets harped on us.
No, if anything, it's more quarterly, but
sure. The next thing, Black Friday. You've done a few Black Fridays now, haven't you?
Yeah, it's changed in the past. What a lot of dealerships I've seen do. Actually, I started seeing these on TikTok, of all places, and we as a dealer group, I can't speak for all the stores, but I think we started doing this. What was that year that you were at the store when you were filming that people in line out front?
Oh, that was
3 years ago?
like 3 years ago now, yeah.
So
I was on my way back from family Thanksgiving.
A lot of dealerships are now starting to do where, some of these vehicles that we take in on trade that are, just they're on their last legs, but they're still running. These are cars that are anywhere from $500 to $5,000. Right in that window right there. Maybe some that are like $7,000, $8,000, but these are strictly cash cars. These are cars that are 8 to 10 years old. They have well over 100,000 miles, so you can't finance it. But that has changed the game for Black Fridays lately. I've seen a lot of dealerships across the country do this, and they do really well with it because we have a lot of people that come in and they either don't want to, or maybe they don't have the ability to finance a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 car, but they have $5,000 in their pocket. They're this, hey, I need something to get from here to there. This isn't a long-term car. And we had a salesperson, Bree, back when she was on the floor years ago. She sold, I think we had like 16 of them, and she had sold like 10 of them. Oh,
I do remember that. She sold some to a guy that was trying to flip them.
Yeah.
Or he bought like a few. He bought like a few of them, like this.
Yeah.
I remember that.
A lot of us weren't happy because she's selling other cars, but we were selling them. That's
her customer.
So,
what do you do? I think. Every store that I've been a part of the Black Friday at, it's been over 10 cars easy that we sell. I think the first year we did it at the Chrysler store, it was over 15 cars or something like that.
And the buyers love it. They love getting out front in line. Like that year that you were there, there was 8 people in line at 5 a.m.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is, as far as like a salesperson, the dealer is the only one that takes the loss.
Yeah.
Right? Because the consumers are happy because most of the cars have something wrong with them, but at least we're telling them on a state safety inspection what's wrong with it, right?
Yeah, every car has a disclosure on it with what's wrong. It's like, hey, just so you know, this is what's wrong.
Yeah, if you go on Marketplace and buy something, you're just as good as a mechanic you are is as good of an inspection you're going to get. At least you're buying a used vehicle with some type of an idea that we checked it out. If it was about to split in half, okay, we're not going to sell this one. But essentially the stores have to take a loss because no, you can't actually buy a car for $99 or $99, even for scrap of $99. There's a car that's not running with no motor.
You still have to pay the dock fee and the sales tax, and but still,
100%. And I never really had an issue. I never had an issue with. I think people the marketing must have done a good enough job advertising that where maybe like once or twice somebody gets mad about it, but like all the ones that I sold, and a couple different years I had like the very first person in line that bought like the $99 car, and they paid the dock fee, but still, with tax, title, license, you have a running driving car for under $1,000. So Black Friday coming up.
Yeah.
If you're a consumer, I believe just watch our Facebook, follow our Kunes stores. The stores that are doing it will be advertising it.
We have a bunch getting built up right now. So
Yep, I know. It's fun. It's fun
got
for
a
the
smart car.
salespeople. Oh, really?
you got a smart car. It's white and orange.
Oh, I've seen that thing. I saw it back there.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So I'll just quickly read through. It also said Monday or Tuesday dealerships are less busy, meaning sales staffs can spend more time negotiating and maybe more eager to close a deal. Side note, hey guys, nobody wants to spend all day negotiating.
No.
You know. I'll give my short answer on when the best time to buy a car is. Best time to buy a car is when you find the car that you really want. And it's a decent price according to the market and everything else. It's within reason, and you found a decent place to buy it at. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it because, for example, Sandy, do you remember the price, like to the dollar, what you paid for your vehicle?
No, but I could tell you the payment was $702 a month.
So you remember the payment, right?
Yep. No one ever knows what the price was. They
But yet, how often will we let $500 affect whether we're going to buy a car or not?
Yeah.
Even as an employee buying a car.
Well, like you said, though, every time you ask somebody how much did you pay for your car, they're going to tell you, I pay $500 a month. I pay $800 a month. They don't ever know what the
So
sale
what I'm
price
saying
was.
is if you like the car, whatever, okay, if it's $500 more than where you think it should be, like get over it in 2 years if it's the right car.
Man, you're really going to get flamed in the comments.
No. Nobody's going to disagree with me on that.
No,
Not one
never.
person.
Not
Not one
ever.
person. Not
no
one
one's
person.
ever going to disagree with the car, guys.
No. It's easy to, it's just and that's how, okay, I'm telling you, as a consumer, that's how I am. If the vehicle's right, if it's what I want, if it's my needs and the budget's right.
Well, that's the way
I
a
don't
lot
want
of
to overpay. Nobody wants to overpay.
No, you're right. I think a lot of people should shop that way. I think, someone will come in and they'll find, like, again, I work at Jeep. They'll find that Grand Cherokee Limited, the white one with the black interior with the sunroof, and that's what they want. And they'll negotiate price with us, and we get us, okay, so can I in your business today? And they'll say, well, I want to go shop it around. I've had people that are flat out say, I'm going to shop you. It's like, well, why? Yep. It's everybody in this region, in the Midwest, all the dealerships pay the exact same price for that Jeep. As long as it's got the same equipment down to down to the floor mats, they all have the same sticker price. Now, it's a matter of what dealer is willing to some dealers will discount it more. There's rebates involved and everything like that. But, a lot of people say, a lot of people will come in and say, I hate this process. And I'll say, why? It's like, well, it takes too long. I say, well, that's on you. Now, again, are there dealers out there that, will dance around a lot of things, give you the runaround and all that? Well, there are. There's bad apples everywhere. But, with Kunes, I like to think we're one of the, we're one of the better ones. I'll tell customers, look, is this the right vehicle? This is the payment we were at that you wanted to get. If there's a trade involved, here's your trade value. What's missing? And sometimes they'll look at me and they go, oh, I don't know. I think they're wired to say, well, I need to negotiate more. Well, I always say the funny thing, and this always gets a laugh out of my customers. It's like, well, no, if you lost your car keys and you found them, would you keep looking for them?
Right.
And they'll kind of look at me kind of awkward. I'm like, well, that does make sense. I'm like, well, if this is already the one, how much is your time worth? You're going to go to this other dealer. It's costing you gas money. It's costing you time. You're just going to get more stressed out because now you're working with another salesperson with a different personality. And it's now you have 6 different prices and now you're all twisted around. It's like, but like you said, if I've said in the past, you could buy a Jeep anywhere, but you really have to, as a salesperson, you have to say, you have to educate and convince that person, well, this is why you should buy from Kunes. This is why you should buy from me, Yep. And that's where some dealers and salespeople will kind of miss the boat.
Yep. So let's get, before the rapid fire, let's get into our closing segment, which is just a little background. So Sandy, you want to give us a little intro on yourself?
So I've been in the business for 18 years. My first 8 years, I was with different manufacturers, with Toyota.
Great manufacturer.
Great manufacturer. I'm still kind of a Toyota nerd. My boss doesn't like that, but
hey, nothing wrong with them. You can buy and sell Toyotas.
I sell pre-owned ones now, so
you can sell new ones.
So yeah, actually, we do have a Toyota store. But I've been with Kunes for the past 10 years. Of those 18 years, I came to the Jeep store in April of 2015. So I've been with them ever since. Before I was in the car business, I was in the military for 10 years. I was in the Army. And then when I got out, didn't know what I wanted to do. And a friend of mine who actually worked at a Toyota dealership down in Schaumburg, Illinois, he said, "Hey, go sell cars." And I said, I don't know how to sell cars. And he said, "Well, do you like people? Do you like cars?" "Yeah." So he was like, "Go find the biggest store in Milwaukee where I lived, and go there." And now I'm here. So, but it's been a wild ride so far. Yeah.
What you said you were at the Toyota store before, and then you moved here. What caused you to make the move from there to
I was in
Elkhorn, Wisconsin?
Yeah, I was in the new car department, and
is that how it was split up there? New car, used car
that
departments?
store. Yeah, there were about 23 people on average. At any given time, there was about 20 to 23 salespeople on the new car side, and there was always about 25 people on the pre-owned side.
Why do you say any given time?
Well, there can be turnover sometimes.
What?
Yeah, some people will.
At the car, it was a car dealership, right?
Yeah.
Turnover?
Some people work for 30 days. They'll think it's easy, and they see it on TV, or selling cars should be easy. It's different when you get into car sales. It's there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's not just wearing a flashy suit and pulling up a car and doing a selfie video. There's a lot involved into it.
You're probably better off without the suit.
Exactly. I can't remember the last time I wore a suit. But it's I was in that department, and then kind of a lot of people started leaving. I just wanted to move on, do something different. I felt I was kind of going stale there, and I actually technically I went to Lexus for a year after that. Through in the car business, it's all who you know and everything like that. So one of the finance guys that I worked with, he actually referred me to Lexus. I was there for about a year, and then I got referred to Kunes because a friend who I had worked with at Toyota got hired on as a finance manager at the Jeep store. So he had called me. We got hired within a week of each other. So it's a lot of word of mouth, who you know, and you can kind of just walk into an interview. But yeah.
We should have asked AI, how do you get a job at a car dealership? Because the answer is walk in, right?
That's pretty much what you do.
That's kind of, I think, if you're like a old school type person, and maybe that's the wrong word, but if you're fine with like asking someone a question face to face as opposed to having to send a text message or an email or something like that, car dealership life might be for you. I think that to me, that's one of my favorite things about it is you could pretty much, somebody could just walk in off the street and say, "Hey, what are you guys hiring for today?" And more often than not, dealerships do not have every position. And I'm talking nationwide, right? I'm not talking specifically ours. Ours for sure it seems like we're always hiring for something.
Yeah.
But in general, car dealerships are a great place to look for employment because there's always something to do. And if you're a hustler and you work hard, there's always going to be a way for you to either move up or two, increase your own income.
Yeah, if you're self-driven, that's almost half the part of it.
But you just walk in. That's one of my favorite things about the car business. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, we have a lot of people that'll walk in, and usually the people that I've seen over the years, like that are coming in and asking for like a sales position, they're coming from a different store or a different dealer group, or that's most of the time. Very rarely do we have people that have never done it before. Well, we have a lot of, at our store, we have a lot of newer, brand new, have never done sales before.
They come in and they're like, "Hey, we heard the rumors about you guys. I came over to see if they're true or not."
We make millions of dollars every year.
Oh, really? Why is there an application in your back pocket?
Exactly. But dress for the job that you want to. Yeah, that's also another thing.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, no. Do you remember how many stores Kunes had when you started?
10.
It was like 10. It was like Macomb or Mount 10. Carroll or whatever.
And even that at the time to me felt like, oh my god, they got 10 stores.
Yeah, 10 stores. Yeah, that was right.
I came from a dealer group that had 3. So it was like you would brag, "Oh, maybe we had 10 stores," and all of a sudden, man, those annual employee Christmas parties just every year since have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger.
Do you remember who the managers were when you started?
Yeah. Eric was our GM, and Bill Ederer was the sales manager. Yeah. Sorry, Bill, I think I got the titles correct at that time. But now Eric is one of our regional managers, kind of oversees multiple stores, and Bill is now the general manager at our Buick store in Greenfield.
Yep.
So
who else was there? Was Peter there? Peter was there.
Peter wasn't there yet. Peter came in 2017.
Oh, was he doing Creekside?
He was doing Creekside.
He's doing Creekside.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Ooh, I forgot he left. He lost a little seniority there.
It was funny because when he first came, there were a
He
lot
left
of
and came
people that
back.
were, when we were in the meeting, I think it was Scott. Scott was in that meeting, I'm pretty sure. And he said, hey, we got Peter and Chris. So, you know, they worked for Kunes in the past when it was Tash. Now, you know, then they went off to run, you know, do their own store, but now they're back. And there were a lot of us in the meeting, like, who are these guys? And these guys, I mean, they were machines. You know?
And Chris is still around. I don't know. He's a big wig over at Ignition Dealer Services now. But shout out to him. He came back and sold and kicked butt. Like he was financed for the longest time.
He was selling 20 to 25 cars a month for
and then
the
he came,
3 months he was on the sales
floor. And then
floor.
he came back, sold a ton of cars, and then moved up. The rest is history. So, yeah. But the reason of course, I'm a salesperson. I have an ulterior motive. The reason I was asking you is we talked earlier about the turnover in the auto industry and how cool is it that all the people we just talked about, and there's more people that we could probably bring up from those days that are still here.
Oh, yeah.
But we have turnover, sure, just like anybody else. We're a real car dealership too, so we have that turnover. But in general, I think we do have more, let's call it like long-term coworkers, employees, whatever.
Yeah.
That I don't think at most dealerships, I don't think you have that. A lot of dealerships will have that one guy that's been here forever.
Yeah.
You know,
the one old guy in the corner that's been there for 30 years and he still has his Rolex.
Who's that guy? I'm not sure, but he shows up every day and I don't know. He brings me a car deal every once in a while.
He's got the same coffee mug he's been using for 20 years.
Right.
You know.
So I do think that there's something kind of cool about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anything else you got about yourself? You're the military man?
Yeah.
Appreciate your service.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I got a passion for what I do. I try to break the mold every day with, we're a loathed profession. Customers come in and they already have that, like,
sure,
you're going to rip me off. And, I know you guys are bad because my brother in Ohio 9 years ago got ripped off on a Honda Accord. Okay, well, come on. There's a lot of professions out there that have their bad apples.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've had a lot of people that will buy cars from me and they'll say at the end of it when we're, putting the plates on and everything, like, yeah, this is actually a good experience. Not what I expected. And I'll tell them, yeah, we're not all bad. Some of us have a genuine, we want to, it's all about the experience, like I said, and I'm not beating a drum here, but like we have a lot of newer guys on the floor and I'll tell them, hey, don't just be in here to sell a car quick and make a quick buck.
Yep.
That's important. Yeah. That's our job is to, at the end of the day, to earn a living, but give them the experience. And that's how you get, this is another topic for another, episode, but, build the experience that way you get repeat business, but change the mold. Let them know that, hey, we both want something. I want to sell you something. You want to buy what I have. Well, let's make it make sense. Let's make it to where you feel comfortable. I try to do it where you give the customer a lot of control.
Yep.
Especially now with TikTok, there's endless videos that I'll sit there and doom scroll on the couch where, these people that are saying, don't buy from here, or, don't go here, don't buy this car because it's bad. Well, okay, well, give us some more context. And a lot of times it is where, it is that dealer group or that dealership, or it was a salesperson that kind of did him wrong, did him dirty.
Yep. It happens.
And unfortunately, you have those people out there, but they're, for you at home, there are a lot of people that genuinely care about getting you into the right car, finding a scenario that makes the best sense. So when you're happy, you'll come back and buy more cars.
Yep. So I am going to go ahead and let Bree introduce herself. Look, she's up there
somewhere.
I think we should do a funny pose so she can pause it and give her intro.
Good to go.
Perfect. Bree, thanks for hanging out with us today. She obviously had some stuff going on, couldn't physically join us here in the room. But my name's Marcos. I started selling cars in 2011. I actually started selling cars and being the photo person.
Yeah.
And I do remember, this is how long ago it was, kids. I bought a Photography for Dummies book. And because I had zero idea on how to take pictures of anything, much less a car.
Is that still on the coffee table at home, or?
I'm sure it's in a box somewhere. I for sure wouldn't have thrown that out. It might be one of the only books I've ever like purchased in my
Get a
life.
signed copy of that if I can.
Yeah. Photography for Dummies. And I don't remember anything about the book aside from it said like stand far away and zoom in to get the proportions right. So that's basically what I based it off of. I had one angle. But anyway, so photos, sold cars for a long time. I was the internet manager because nobody wanted, at the store I was at, nobody wanted the internet leads because it was a pain in the butt to deal with these internet leads. Because the internet was a fad back then. Yeah. Nobody wanted the internet.
It's not as concrete as it is now.
Yep. Nobody wanted the internet leads. So I was the internet manager. And that worked out really well. They had one internet manager previously and just like didn't do it. She'd skate people. Skate is a term for those who don't know where you take someone else's customer. So the way they had it set up was if the internet manager got a lead and it was like someone's customer they had already sold a vehicle to, that salesperson got first dibs. Yeah. Totally reasonable. Probably a good way to set that up, right?
Yeah. A lot of people don't like that nowadays, though. It doesn't really land as well.
Yeah, it's tough. Also, customer loyalty is lower than it's been at any time in human history. Yeah. Whatever you want, retail history, whatever you want to call it. Loyalty is down, which shout out to our customers who I feel are very loyal. Or I can think of in my head a bunch of loyal customers.
Like I said before, with the right salespeople, because nowadays customers, some of them, they don't care. Yep. Like they just want to buy the car and see it. But if you give them that good experience and you change their perception, then it doesn't turn into that one person that's, I bought a car. I forgot who his name was, but he sat there, so.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so sold cars. I've done, I did special finance before I came to Kunes. And then I came to Kunes. I did sales. I did 777 customs for a while, our custom trucks.
That was fun.
Yep. That was fun. The custom truck stuff, that was really well. Shout out to Mike Arnold, who's now doing his own custom truck thing. But we really focused on build quality during 777 customs. And I know with like some of the secondary manufacturers, especially like when they're first starting off, we heard a lot. And as a dealer, we saw a lot of those horror stories happen, which gave us and gave Mike a good vantage point of how to build something
right the first time.
Right the first time, yeah. It wasn't the flashiest, it wasn't the coolest or whatever, but we tried to give you the most bang for the buck reliably. So shout out to Mike at Badgeland Off-Road. He's been cranking it out. Yeah. But yeah, I was a sales trainer for a while. I've done inventory stuff.
You were a trainer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When? This would have been 2019.
Oh.
2018, 2019.
That I didn't know.
During like the beginning of COVID. Yep. That was fun. We just have like the training classes. Some of it was like at that point we were still, or it was at a point where we were like adding stores. So like a new store would come on, we'd go and kind of just get them set up and whatever.
Right.
That was a fun job. Ron was great to work with over there, probably because he's watching. No, Ron, I mean that was a fun job. Yeah. But yeah, I have 2 kids now, and once the kids were born, sales is just. I think there is something great about sales where it's the type of job that, like, if a situation comes up where you gotta leave, or you need to, or you just really really want to, as long as you've consistently been doing your job overall.
Yeah, don't abuse it.
Yeah, don't abuse it. But it is that kind of job where you're not really leaving, in most scenarios, you're not doing your job, your workplace, your coworkers a disservice by just like dipping out for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's not like a factory where my break is until 11:30.
Yeah, it's like, well, you can't leave. Who's gonna? You can't leave. Who's gonna run the machine?
I mean,
if you left, it would literally cause a scenario for a lot of people.
Well, like at our store, and this is every store. And if you're saying it's not, you're lying. Like right after the sales morning meeting, half the people go to the gas station to get food. Mm-hmm. The other half disappear on the lot on their phones.
Sandy, if you're here, who's helping with the popcorn machine?
Exactly.
But yeah, so I don't know if I said it. So I think Kunes like 8 or 9 years now. But yeah, we used to do a lot of the custom truck stuff. Actually, filming our first one in a long time today.
We're getting back into that. We're doing a lot of in-house builds. Not a ton, but I don't think we're no longer using the 777 badge, like that Gladiator that we have, which I think you should do a video on, because it's orange Halloween. But
which one?
That was an in-house build. The Gladiator we did with the lift and the wheels and tires. It's orange, bright. That one you could do. I mean, you should do it. It's our store. But.
We should do it. Not to get too off track, but is that your store right now?
Yeah.
Maybe we do that because it fits with Halloween and
we have yesterday, or was it yesterday? Yeah, our Pete ordered some custom trucks from Fox Factory, so that's gonna be very exciting. We got some
Yes.
really cool trucks that are factory backed that are coming down the pipeline. So it's gonna be. We haven't done it. We haven't had a truck. I don't think we've ever had a truck like that. Let alone we got 3 for sure. I think there's 4, but 3 for sure. We put orders in for those.
All right. Before we get into the rapid fire segment, I will just say what the main reason that I looked toward Kunes overall was the inventory.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Because I had previously been I'd been at a really big used car store in Illinois. I worked at Speedway Auto Mall for a while. So like as far as used cars, they have an indoor showroom. I mean, they have a lot of vehicles. They do good volume. And then right before that, I was at a new car store that basically had no used inventory. Like they almost like wanted to be like a new car store,
Yeah.
you know, didn't like the used car stuff was pretty much non-existent, 15, 20 used cars. So between just the amount of vehicles and then really the performance stuff is what got my juices flowing. The number one reason I even looked at the car business in the first place. I'm like, wait, you get to drive the cars? You know, as a kid, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, you get to drive the cars, right?
Yeah, it's fun to hop in a 700 horsepower pickup.
Yeah, I can do 12 hours a day. I get to drive the cars, right? That was for sure my thoughts.
Where you going? Content.
Right. But anywho, I think that continues today that as far as the cool stuff, I think I've heard it multiple times from customers. Oh, I went to such and such dealer and they don't mess with lifted trucks or performance vehicles. They told me to come see you guys. So when other dealers are referring customers to us, that's one of the ultimate pats on the back. So keep doing it, guys. We appreciate you.
Well, it's like our Ford store. I mean, Jesus, I think aren't they the largest Shelby store in the country?
Yeah, I think in general, us as a dealer group, we're the number one Shelby dealer.
Even with the Mustangs,
in the world.
That store built an extension of a show floor just to house all the Mustangs, and that's insane. And that's And I talked to a couple of those guys. They're like, yeah, man, we're killing it. They sell obviously a lot of local, but a lot of their cars they're selling to go cross country.
Yeah, they're all over the country. And I do encourage people if you're around and you like cars. I mean, you could literally just do a little mini tour at like a couple dealerships that we have here in Delavan within 5 miles, and there's a lot of super cool cars that you could see in that performance showroom they built over at the Ford store. It looks like straight up like a museum. It looks like a Mustang museum. They have 2 Code Reds, which are like almost $1 million between those 2 cars. And there's only 30 of them ever built. They have 2 of them.
We always
there.
have cool stuff. I mean,
and I think they have number 2 and number 30.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I mean, both good numbers. Anywho, we're gonna wrap this up. Bree, do you have anything to add? Awfully quiet today, hasn't she?
I know. You think she'd like to, involve herself?
Yeah, she's a little shy. She's a little camera shy.
Woman of a few words,
Yes. Anywho, rapid fire questions.
Let's go.
I'm gonna ask you 5, and then you'll ask me 5. Don't have to elaborate too much. Just like a relatively
short and sweet.
And then if people want us to elaborate more on one of them, we'll do that on the next episode. Sure. So put in the comments.
Please be nice in the comments. We're car guys, we know, but be nice.
You don't have to be that nice to Sandy. But be nice to me. I'm a
don't
fragile
be nice
soul.
to him. He's the corporate guy.
I'm a fragile soul, not at all. I'm as car salesman as it gets. All right. So, is it better to lease or buy?
I'm gonna say lease. Again, it's based off your individual lifestyle and everything like that. But I feel that leasing in general was always better.
What is the best time of year to buy a car? You kind of talked about it again, but hit me with it again.
Really, anytime. Avoid the end of the year if you want to get that certain color or certain package or trim level, because inventory dwindles fast towards the end of the year. So usually the second half of the month is when naturally we're going to be a little bit more aggressive on a trade-in or a sale price or throwing something.
So any month toward the end of the month, or when you find the right car.
Yeah.
How much should I put down on a car?
If you have the means, I mean, it's like with leasing, a lease is designed where you don't have to you shouldn't be putting a lot down. If you're putting anything north of $6,000 down on a lease, at least for our cars, I can't speak for high-end cars and all that. You at that point you just want to finance it. But when you're just lowering your amount financed in turn you're lowering your payment and everything like that. Sometimes putting more down may give you a better term or rate based on individual credit, but there's 1,000 variables with that. So I would say that's why I like leasing, because you could put $4,000 down on this Jeep and be at this payment, but to be at that same payment for financing it, you'd have to put $12,000 down.
So really, what works for your budget?
What works for your budget?
How often should I really change my oil?
Oh, now we're really gonna get attacked in the comments. So there's gonna be that one guy that says, I've been buying cars since then before you were born, and I change my oil after the first 500 miles. And okay, do it, but the simplest way is go by what they say in the book, because I'd like to think manufacturers have spent millions and millions and millions on R&D to say, hey, this is when you should change your oil. I've owned cars that were change the oil every 3,000 miles. Years ago, I owned an Audi where oil changes were every 15,000 miles. Most cars are synthetic oil. It's 10,000 miles. But I have customers that have been buying cars before I was born, and I'll tell them, I'll say, hey, oil changes are every 10,000 miles. And they're like, oh, I'm doing it every 3. Fine, cool. You're just spending more, but go by what the book says,
Yep. I hear you there. All right. You want to do 6 through 10 here?
All right. So,
check.
Number 6, do I really need to use premium gas?
Ooh, depending on the car, you really might need it. So for example, the easiest way to tell, open your gas lid, your gas cap, whatever. If you need premium or a particular octane, it will say in there minimum 89, 91, 93, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you put too low of a grade in a vehicle that requires a higher grade, you could cause damage to your motor. I don't know that warranty would stand that. That's a scary thing. You might have to make an insurance claim.
That's a slippery slope.
I don't know if a warranty is going to cover that, because you put the wrong stuff in it. It's not that the vehicle malfunctioned. You put the wrong fuel in it. So for example, if you put diesel in a gas car, you can't take it in for a warranty claim because
we had a sales guy do that once.
Sure, and it's an insurance claim because it's an accident. It's not a defect or whatever. So I would say, if your car needs it, yes, absolutely. If your car does not require it, then that depends on if you want to. Realistically,
you're not getting any performance gain out of it.
Realistically, I don't.
You're not.
You're not gonna, unless you're calculating it. You're not gonna notice a performance difference or a miles per gallon difference for the average consumer. So unless your car absolutely requires it, I would say no.
Perfect. This is a good one. Is an extended warranty actually worth it?
Yes, absolutely. Trust me, I'm a car salesman. I would know. So how I buy vehicles, you're a lease guy.
Yeah.
I'm a used car guy.
You are.
So I look for, and you know that about me. But I look, when I'm buying a vehicle, miles are super important. I want something low miles. Just because I want to keep the wear generally down. But I don't really care if I'm in or out of warranty too much within reason. So for example, if I find a 3-year, 1-month-old car with low miles, to me, that's about the same as if I found one that was still under warranty, because I know I'm going to put a bumper-to-bumper warranty on it. And the reason is it's easier to budget either a few $1,000s or a couple $1,000s at the time that you purchase the vehicle, whether you actually pay an extra couple $1,000 or a few $1,000, or if you pay an extra $15-20 a month in your payment. It's easier to budget that than it is to budget unexpectedly
a $900 repair
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it in my about me bio section, but I did work in service for a hot second, and for any kind of real situation,
$1,000.
if you have a diesel truck and you want an oil change and your fuel filters changed out, like just a general maintenance thing like that, could be $1,000.
Yeah.
If something actually goes wrong, it's $1,000 plus in a modern. If you have something that's like 5 years or newer, I would say it's $1,000 plus, pretty easy. So again, for me, it's easier to budget that in my payment or when I purchase the vehicle to say, okay, here's an extra $20-30 a month for if something happens, than it is to all of a sudden my power steering goes out and now I got to come up with a couple grand that I wasn't planning on coming up with. So for me, the warranty, yes, it's absolutely peace of mind thing.
Yeah.
There's going to be some arguments about if you're buying brand new. I would still say if you're buying the vehicle brand new, if you think you're going to keep it for a while, I would still buy the warranty at that time because it's the cheapest you're ever going to get that warranty. For example, if you walk into a dealership 3 years later, the prices of the warranties are going to be higher. Everything's just going to be naturally higher. And also, if you have a vehicle that's out of warranty and you want to put a extended warranty on it, it's more expensive than it is if you put a warranty on something that's already under factory warranty. And again, most people are wrapping it up into the payments. So I would say, yeah, even if you're buying a new car, you buy an extended warranty.
There's a ton of reasons why, even on a new car.
Sure.
Ton of reasons.
So if I will mention, if there's people, if for whatever reason you're somewhere and you're not coming to us for whatever, like to one of our dealerships, not all extended warranties are created equally. The extended warranties that we use, I know from my service side, they're super vetted as far as the ones that we sell. Because we don't want to sell a warranty that's difficult to actually get the money when we need to perform the work.
Like those postcards you get in the mail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I had one piece of advice on the warranty, I would say buy it from a reputable brick and mortar, somewhere where you're actually where you intend on getting the work performed.
Not where the call center's overseas.
Correct. So if you're in Hawaii right now and you don't want to buy a car from me, no problem. But go to your local store that you would actually get the work performed on and see what extended warranty they offer. As the ones that I bought through the Kunes store that I purchased at, it's an exclusionary warranty. So everything's covered except for the stuff that it lists off.
Wear and tear.
Yep, it's easy. Well, but it's important because the exclusionary warranties, they tell you everything that is not covered on the vehicle. As far as just a standard warranty, it's easy to show a page full of parts for a car and say this is everything that it's covered. But there's 3,000 individual pieces to a car.
And nobody ever reads that.
Exactly.
They'll either say I don't want it, or they'll say
look how impressive all this stuff is that it's covered, but it's all mumbo jumbo. The stuff that actually breaks, the 30 items that you're actually going to want replaced in the lifetime of a vehicle aren't actually on that contract. So if you're out there buying an exclusionary warranty, is definitely the way to go. So yes, short answer, yes, extended warranty is a must. We're still on extended warranty, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. This one, I kind of wish I got this question, but it's a fun one. What's the most overrated car feature right now?
Ooh, yeah, you can definitely give your opinion on this. That is a good one. Most overrated car feature. Man, I wish
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for mine. I have two.
Okay, how about this? I have an underrated one.
Okay.
Why don't I give the most underrated or unappreciated, and then you give me the overrated, since you kind of already had an initial thought. So I think the most underrated one, especially in America, is going to be diesel engines. I think that the hybrid and electric push is great. But I feel like the fact that the U.S. didn't come around to the diesel, like the U.S. markets didn't come around to the diesel vehicles. I think there could, as far as the environment goes, I think we could have made a bigger impact on the environment if we would have adapted diesel vehicles sooner, and not had to jump into the electric hybrid thing so heavy, because it's still proven not necessarily concrete.
I wish they would have kept the Grand Cherokee with the diesel as an option.
Yeah,
that was fun.
And shout out to Mike Oberthaler. A lot of shout outs here. Shout out to Mike Oberthaler because I think he always said he got like 30 miles a gallon out of his, and he pulled a decent sized camper. Like, you wouldn't think that you should be pulling a camper.
He would come into work with it.
Yeah, it's like, man, are you sure you should have that thing hooked up? Oh yeah, look at this. He's got his specs. He's got it all specced out. Consulting.
One of my friends has one, and they have well over 200K on it right now, and he deleted it.
Yeah,
and he's getting 38 miles per gallon out of it.
You know what? And you bring up a good point. Maybe that's why the U.S. hasn't gotten more, because
they restrict
the restrictions. But still, even with that, the TDIs get 40, 35, 40 miles a gallon.
Well, they said they did. Then there was that whole Dieselgate thing with Volkswagen. They fibbed a little bit on their numbers.
But anywho, so yeah, underrated. I think diesel engines. What do you got for overrated? And then we're gonna wrap this episode up.
Third row seats.
Okay.
I'm tired of it.
What do you mean?
I'm going to get a lot of hate at home.
You're going to get a lot of hate here.
I don't care. So I have a third row vehicle and I never use it.
That's your fault for buying the wrong car.
So here's the thing. I think when people come in, and sedans are really going away. No one's coming in asking for a four-door car.
They're not going away. They're gone.
They're gone, yeah. There's a few manufacturers that do it. Everybody wants an SUV now, and rightly so, because now we have a lot of small crossovers and SUVs that are getting 30 miles plus to the gallon. But now everybody wants a third row. And I'll ask a lot of customers, the first thing I'll ask them is, do you truly need a third row? And 8 times out of 10, they say no. I think it's because
But they want it.
they want it to know that in case they need it, they can use it, and they never use it.
But does
And
anybody?
I can't speak for the thousands of salesmen across the country and saleswomen, but when I see those customers in for service, I'll talk to them, chat it up a little bit, and I'll always ask them, how often have you used your third row? And 9 times out of 10, I never use it.
But it's there if they want it.
Why spend the extra money?
Listen,
if you
because
don't
they
need
want it. Because they want it.
Why would you spend the extra money?
Because they want to.
I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Some people, yes.
I feel like you're the type of
Now,
salesperson
for the people at home, yes,
Are you
I
talking
know.
people out of buying cars? Saying, you know what, Mr.
No.
Customer, that you got 157,000 miles on it.
But it's my job. I can talk somebody
get
out
you
of a car and into a different car.
No, but
No,
that's the
I
car they
get
want.
it. Look, I get it. A lot of you at home are saying, hey, I'm rocking my Yukon XL or my Suburban, and I use my 3 rows all the time. Hey, do you, boo-boo? All I'm saying is, for most of them, they're not using it.
Sure.
They're not.
Let me ask you a question.
So
How many Hellcats have you sold?
Oh, geez. About a dozen.
Okay. So cumulatively, we're talking about 8,500 horsepower.
Sure.
Okay. Bree, can you fact check 707 times 12? How many of those horsepower get used on a daily basis? Or
Half.
Or every time? Okay. So why didn't you switch every single one of those customers to a scat pack? And you would have sold the right amount.
Because there's
Of
more
course.
markup in a Hellcat. I'm kidding. What I'm saying,
Because
though,
they wanted
is,
the Hellcat.
right? But, okay, look, I won't talk someone out of a third row, but I'll ask them, do you truly need it? And a lot of times they'll say no. I'll have couples that'll come in. They'll say they need a third row, and they have no kids. Maybe they have a dog. Or some people do need a third row. And here's why I'll switch people to a minivan, and people hate it. But here's why sometimes a third row doesn't make sense. You'll have a family, mom and dad, and they have 4 kids, right? The beautiful thing with third row vehicles, whether it's a Grand Cherokee L like I have, or someone that's rocking a Suburban or whatever, you can haul all the kids, but you can't haul all the cargo. Because what comes with kids? There's strollers, there's diaper bags, there's...
Well, that's why you get the XL.
We're going on travel baseball games and hockey. Like one of my good friends, their son was a goalie, and the amount of
Big
gear
bags.
that a goalie carries,
Right.
yeah, you need a bus for that. So a third row vehicle hauls all the people, but when that third row is up, you have little to no space. You have enough space for a gym bag and a bag of groceries, right? But a minivan, it's the jack of all trades, does it all. It hauls everybody, and it has that huge cabin in the back to put all the gear and the strollers and all that. But people don't want it because it's a minivan. So I'll have people that'll say, hey, I know that'll do everything I need it to do, but I want this instead. And I'll sell them whatever you want. But it's just...
But they're still overrated.
Everybody wants, a third-row SUV that gets 40 miles to the gallon. I think the car industry will get there.
Yep.
I think there's going to be an electric third-row SUV that's going to get a 700-mile range or whatever. It'll be that'll charge in 30 minutes. But for now, I mean, I don't... And here's me. I bought a third row, and it's been used. The one time it was used is when I let friends borrow it, because they went with 2 other couples down to State Fair in Milwaukee.
Okay, so if you want to be a good friend, buy a third row.
Yeah, buy a third row, yeah. If you want other people to benefit from it, buy a third row.
Should we ask Brianne what she thinks?
Yeah, what's her take on it? What's your most overrated feature in the car industry as far as car features?
All right, so we are getting toward the end of our episode. Sandy, I appreciate you helping us out today and hanging out. And I think that you gave some great info. I think in the comments you can definitely roast us. If you're gonna roast us, please also attach a suggestion for what you'd like to see in the next episode. Just so it's like balance. We want to keep balance in life, right? So if you're gonna roast us, please do just give us a suggestion on how we can improve for the next time. Yeah. What are we missing? Are we missing something? I feel like we're missing something.
I mean, hey, look, if you can't trust your local car guy, I mean,
who can you trust?
Who really
right.
What are we doing here?
You're absolutely right. So to sum up today,
don't buy a third row.
Don't buy a third row.
Lease a car.
And ask ChatGPT
how to buy a car.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching the Kunes Collective. This was Marcos.
This is Eddie.
We'll see you next time.